Hello, good morning students. What we have discussed in the last classes, we have discussed about the uncertainty principle proposed by Werner Heisenberg. Simultaneously, one cannot measure the position and momentum or the energy and the time or the angular momentum and the angular displacement of the particle with the highest degree of accuracy. And the uncertainty is an inherent nature of the measurement, and it is not the fault of the experimenter, or it is not the limitation of the experiment, and the very act of measurement introduces the certain degree of uncertainty in the measurement. And also we have discussed about the gamma ray microscope experiment proposed by Heisenberg himself, where the electron going to scatter the highest energy radiation such as the gamma rays, and so that the momentum is transferred to the electron, and what is the uncertainty in the measurement of the position of the electron and the momentum of the electron, so that one can verify the uncertainty principle. And in this class we are going to discuss about some of the applications of the uncertainty principle. For example, by applying the uncertainty principle, it is possible to measure what is the energy of the electron in the hydrogen atom, or the momentum of the electron in the atom, or the energy of the alpha particle emitted from the nucleus, and so on. And we are going to discuss about the two applications. One is the non-existence of electrons inside the nucleus and the broadening of the spectral line, or it is now known as the width of the spectral line by using the uncertainty principle. First, let us discuss about the non-existence of electron inside the nucleus. Now, already we knew that the electron is now orbiting around the nucleus. The nucleus contains the protons and the neutrons, which we call as the nucleons, and surround the nucleus the electrons are orbiting. Now, let us assume that the electrons are inside the nucleus. The electrons are inside the nucleus, and r is now the radius of the nucleus. Therefore, instead of electron orbiting around the nucleus, let us assume the electrons are present inside the nucleus. Now, if the electrons are present inside the nucleus, we are going to locate the electrons. That means there is a uncertainty in the locating the position of the electron. Now, what is the uncertainty in locating the position of the electron? That is naturally equal to, if you say delta x is now become 2r, where r is now the radius of the nucleus, and the 2r is now become the diameter of the nucleus. And if you imagine the nucleus as a sphere, and naturally the electrons are now inside that sphere. Therefore, the order of the diameter itself is now become the uncertainty in the position of the electron, or therefore delta x we can write as a 2r, and where r we can take as approximately 10 to the power minus 14 meter. 10 to the power minus 15 meter, which is now 1 Fermi, and the nucleus is of slightly larger size, and therefore it is now of the order of 10 to the power minus 14 meter. A typical nucleus having the radius is about 10 to the power minus 14 meter. Therefore, the electrons which are now present inside the nucleus, and it is now the limited to this location, and therefore within that sphere of diameter 2r, and the electrons are present, and therefore naturally the uncertainty in locating the position of the electron, which is now become delta x, which is equal to 2r. Now, once we know the delta x, naturally one can find what is the uncertainty in the momentum of the electron. We apply the uncertainty principle. That means delta p into delta x, we already discussed this, that is now h cross. Or what is delta p? Delta p is equal to h cross divided by delta x, and this or I can write this as h by 2 pi h cross, and delta x is equal to, just now we got, that is now 2r, or what is delta p then? Delta p is equal to h divided by 4 pi r, and let us substitute the values. H is equal to 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second, and 4 pi into r. What is the r value? You have taken this is now 10 to the power minus 14, and we simplify this. If we simplify this value, and this comes out to be 5.28 into 10 to the power minus 21 delta p. This is the momentum. Therefore, what is the unit? Kg meter per second. Therefore, the value of this momentum is now comes out to be, delta p is now comes out to be 5.28 into 10 to the power minus 21. Now, if it is now the uncertainty, what is the momentum of the electron? The momentum of the electron is also of the same order. Therefore, we can write the momentum of the electron, momentum of the electron inside the nucleus, it is moving inside the nucleus, of the order P equal to 5.28 into 10 to the power minus 21 kg meter per second. Now, when you apply the uncertainty principle, if you know the uncertainty principle, uncertainty value, the measurement value is of the naturally of the same order. Therefore, delta P, it is now, if it is a 5.28 into 10 to the power minus 21, and the momentum of the electron inside the nucleus is of the same order, and that is a value of this P is equal to this much, 5.28 into 10 to the power minus 21. Once we know the momentum of the electron, then easily one can find out what is the kinetic energy. What is the kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is given by P square by 2m. This already we know, because the kinetic energy can be written as half m v square. You multiply by m and divide by m. Therefore, m square v square, which is now p square, and in the denominator 2m. Therefore, p square by 2m, which gives now the kinetic energy of a moving electron. Therefore, the electron present inside the nucleus, it is now moving with a velocity v, and it is now residing inside the nucleus. Therefore, the uncertainty in the position is now the diameter of the nucleus itself. Therefore, we have the 2r, which is the uncertainty in the position, and the momentum is given by h cross by delta x. This comes out to be uncertainty in the momentum. Therefore, we know the momentum, and we evaluate what is the kinetic energy, and we substitute the value. Let us say this is now 5.28 into 10 to the power minus 21. We have to square this, divided by 2 into m. What is m? Mass of the electron, 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31. This is in the joule unit. You divide this one by 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. This comes out to be in electron volt, 95.7 into 10 to the power 6 electron volt, or simply it is now 95.7 MeV. Therefore, suppose if the electron is now present inside the nucleus, what is the energy? Kinetic energy of the electron is now of the order 100 MeV. Approximately, it is now of the order 100 MeV. Now, in beta decay, the beta decay is a process where the nucleus is now going to get decay, and the beta particle is emitted. Suppose if this is the nucleus, the beta particle emitted, and what is the velocity of the beta particle? The energy of the beta particle. Experimentally, the energy of the beta particles are measured, and the value of the energy is now of the order about 1 to 2 MeV. Now, beta particles are now the electrons. Therefore, once the radioactivity was discovered, it was found that the beta particles are nothing but the electrons, and the question in front of the physicist whether these electrons are now from the nucleus, because the radioactive phenomenon is a nuclear phenomenon. If the beta particle is now come out of the nucleus, whether this beta particle, that is the electrons present inside the nucleus. Now, if the electrons present inside the nucleus, what should be the order of the energy? It is now 100 MeV. But the all experiments clearly shown that that we call as the beta ray spectrum. All experiments clearly have shown that this is the energy of the beta particle, and this is, we can say, the number of beta particles. This is now known as the beta ray spectrum, where the maximum energy of the beta particles for the different radionuclides of the order about the 2 MeV. But the uncertainty principle, when we apply it, is now comes out to be 100 MeV. That means these beta particles are not present inside the nucleus. Then how these beta particles are now come out of the or the ejected from the nucleus? To explain that, one has to consider the theory of beta decay, which says that there is a continuous conversion of a neutron into the proton or the proton into the neutron, and by that there will be emission of the positive beta particle or the negative beta particle. Suppose if a proton is now converted into a neutron, let us say in a given nucleus, a proton is now converted into a neutron, and there will be emission of a negative beta particle, which is nothing but the electron. This is positive beta particle. A neutron converted into a proton, and there will be emission of the negatively charged beta particle, the minus, and in the process, and there will be the electron is now created. That electron cannot present inside the nucleus. Immediately they are now come out or the ejected from the nucleus, which is nothing but a beta decay. Therefore, the electrons cannot present inside the nucleus, or the electrons are not exist inside the nucleus, and the uncertainty principle clearly shows that suppose if the electrons are now present inside the nucleus, its energy is of the order of 100 MeV. Now, in experiment, if the value of the kinetic energy of the beta particle emitted is also of the order of the 100 MeV, that means we can say the electrons are present inside the nucleus. But it is so contrary to that, the measured value of the beta particle energy is now far lesser compared to the expected value from the uncertainty principle, clearly demonstrate that the electrons are not present inside the nucleus, or we call that non-existence of the electron inside the nucleus. This is the one application which we have considered. And the second application, only the two applications we are going to discuss as per the syllabus, your syllabus. And the second application is the width of the spectral line. Width of the spectral line, or the explanation for the width of the spectral line, or the broadening of the spectral line. Now, what we mean by the spectral line? The spectral line is now due to the transition of the atom from the higher energy state to the lower energy state. Let us say we have the two energy states. One is now we write as E2, higher energy state, and the lower energy state as E1. Let us take the E1 as the ground state of an atom, and E2 is now the excited state of the atom. The atom present, which is now emits the energy, and what is the frequency of the radiation emitted, which is equal to E2 minus E1 by H. Now, these energy states are now the fixed value. Suppose if this is the ground state, is now having the energy is equal to the 0. Usually it is now taken as a 0 electron volt, and the higher energy, which is equal to 13.6 electron volt. What is the difference? And this is now exactly 13.6 electron volt. But according to the uncertainty principle, you cannot say this is now the exact value, because the measurement of the energy state is now have a certain degree of the uncertainty, which is nothing but what we call as the delta E. Now, the atom which is now in the excited state goes from the ground state to the excited state, and it is now comes back, and it is not the immediate transition, and this atom is now present in the excited state for a particular time. and it is not the immediate transition. There is a time lag, and that is why that is what we have the uncertainty in the time, or which we call as the lifetime of energy state. The atom which is now in the excited state is now present in the excited state for a particular time of the order 10 to the power minus 8 second, which we call as the lifetime of the energy state. And naturally the uncertainty in the time is of the same order, and therefore we can write delta t is of the order 10 to the power minus 8 second. Therefore, this is now the uncertainty in the time interval. Now, we apply the uncertainty principle, and we can write delta E into delta T is equal to H cross, or I can write this as H by 2 pi. Now, we measure the energy of the energy state and then the frequency of the radiation emitted, and therefore, if I write as this as E equal to H nu, or what is the nu? Nu is equal to E by H, and naturally if we have if we consider the uncertainty in the measurement of the energy delta E, this also produces the uncertainty in the measurement of the frequency. Therefore, I can write delta E is equal to H into delta nu, and we can substitute this one in the equation 1 for the delta E in the equation 1. Therefore, we have H delta nu into delta T is equal to H by 2 pi, this H cancel, or delta nu into delta T is equal to 1 by 2 pi, or simply delta nu is equal to 2 pi into delta T. This is now become what we have the frequency spread. That means when we measure the frequency of the spectral line, and if by using an experiment, that is by using a spectrometer, one can find out what is the wavelength of the spectral line, or if we measure the nu lambda equal to C, or what is lambda equal to C by nu. Therefore, by the experiment, by using the spectrometer, let us say you have measured the wavelength of the spectral line, and this wavelength of the spectral line is now, let us say it is now you have measured, which is equal to 580 nanometer. And if it is not at all any uncertainty, there is no error in the measurement. Error in the measurement is now it is separate, and there is not at all any uncertainty in the measurement of the wavelength. What is the wavelength of the spectral line which we measure? That is equal to 580 nanometer. But there is a inherent uncertainty in the measurement of the wavelength itself, and this is not lambda, this is now lambda plus or minus delta lambda. What is delta lambda? Delta lambda is now the uncertainty in the measurement of the wavelength, which we call as the width of the spectral line. And therefore, this energy state itself is now slightly uncertain. What is uncertainty? E plus or minus delta E. That leads to what you have the uncertainty in the measurement of the wavelength as lambda plus or minus delta lambda, or the nu equal to the measurement nu plus or minus delta nu, where delta nu is now the uncertainty in the frequency. Therefore, we have the delta nu equal to 1 by 2 pi into delta T, or we can get the order. What is the order? Delta nu is equal to, you can neglect this one, delta T is equal to, we already considered 10 to the power minus 8, which goes to the numerator. Delta nu is equal to 10 to the power 8, 10 to the power 8. This is in terms of the frequency. This appears to be very large, 10 to the power 8, but actually it is now a small one, because the frequencies of the given spectral line, it is now of the order of 10 to the power 15 to 10 to the power 16 hertz. Therefore, delta nu is now a small one. And to get that idea, you consider the uncertainty in the wavelength. Now, we already said that the nu lambda equal to c, and therefore nu lambda equal to c, and if you write this is delta nu into delta lambda equal to c, this is wrong. This is wrong because the product of the frequency and the wavelength is equal to the velocity of light. But the product of the uncertainty in the frequency, uncertainty in the wavelength is not the velocity of the light. Therefore, nu lambda equal to c, but delta nu into delta lambda is not equal to c. Now, we have to find what is the uncertainty in the wavelength. For that, we consider this as a nu, I can write as c by lambda, or simply it is now c lambda to the power minus 1. Let us differentiate this equation. Let us differentiate with respect to lambda. Therefore, I can write this as d nu by d lambda equal to minus c lambda to the power minus 2, or simply it is now become minus c by lambda square. Or what is d lambda then? D lambda is equal to minus, this goes to here, lambda square by c into d nu, and since it is a plus or minus, I can write this as a minus plus, and this is now lambda square by c into what is d nu? D nu is now d nu or delta nu? 1 by 2 pi delta t, or simply this d lambda equal to plus or minus lambda square 2 pi c into delta t. This is now become the uncertainty in the wavelength, or the spread of the spectral line by a factor d lambda. Suppose if you say the lambda is now the wavelength of the spectral line, and that line is now slightly gets spread, what is the order? And suppose if this is the spectral line, this is the idea. This is now slightly become a thicker. It is not a very only the one particular wavelength. What is this? This value is now delta lambda. Therefore, a broadening, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಗಲಾಗ್ತದೆ, broadening of the spectral line by the order lambda or the frequency, delta lambda or the frequency by delta nu, which we call as the width of the spectral line. Therefore, the d lambda is given by lambda square by 2 pi c into delta t. Now, to get this order, let us assume that we have a spectral line, we said that of the order 580 nanometer, or let us assume that it is now of the order 600 nanometer. That means d lambda is equal to lambda square equals 600 into 10 to the power minus 9, you have to square this, divided by 2 pi into, what is the c value? 3 into 10 to the power 8 into delta t, 10 to the power minus 8. Now, you take only the exponent of the 10, that is the power of 10, and the other you can neglect. In that case, d lambda can be written as this is now 10 square, and here 10 to the power minus 9, here 10 to the power 0 it goes. Therefore, 10 to the power minus 7, and square this, that is become 10 to the power minus 14. Therefore, d lambda is of the order 10 to the power minus 14 meter. This is become what you have the d lambda. That means, suppose if you measure the wavelength of this spectral line as the 600 nanometer, this is now 600 into 10 to the power minus 9, this is now 10 to the power minus 5 remaining. Therefore, 600 plus or minus 0.00001. This is become what you have the spectral line. The width of the spectral line is now varies by 600 plus or minus this value. This is very small value, and no ordinary spectrometer can able to identify this particular broadening. Therefore, in the practical class, you are, let us say, you are supposed to measure the wavelength of the sodium light, and you are measured by using a spectrometer, and you got the value of the wavelength as 600 plus or minus, let us say, 0.05 meter, and you say that, sir, this is due to the uncertainty. I have very precisely measured, and this value 0.05 meter is by the uncertainty principle. You cannot say, because the uncertainty value is now extremely small value, 0.000 something, and that is why by ordinary spectrometer, when you measure, you cannot see the broadening of the spectral line. But in the finest experiment, using the instrument, when you measure, certainly this will become appreciable. Therefore, the given spectral line is now slightly get broadened by the uncertainty of the order delta nu or delta lambda. This is the application of the uncertainty principle. Now, just before closing, by using the uncertainty principle, very easily one can measure what is the energy of the hydrogen atom when the electron revolve in the first orbit. Now, for that, I will consider, just to get the idea, the power of the uncertainty principle, or the importance of the uncertainty principle in the microscopic level. Let us consider this is the hydrogen atom where the electron revolve in the first orbit, and therefore this is now R1 is now the radius of the hydrogen atom where the electron revolve in the first orbit, and so that we can write as n is equal to 1. And you know that the electron revolve in the next orbits, n is equal to 2, n equal to 3, n equal to 4, and so on. And this R1 is the radius of the hydrogen atom, and the electron revolve in the first orbit, and this R1 is of the order the 0.5 angstrom, or I can write Rn is equal to R1 into n square, is it not? And when n is equal to 1, that is R1. When n is equal to 2, it is now 4 times of R1. When n is equal to 3, third orbit, it is now become 9 times of R1. Therefore, the radius of the orbits goes on increasing. That already you know. Now, when the electron revolve in the first orbit, first Bohr orbit, what is the uncertainty in the position of the electron? What is the uncertainty in the position of the electron? The radius of the orbit itself, and that is why we write x as delta x is equal to r. This is now delta, I can write this is equal to r itself, delta x is equal to r itself, which is now of the order 0.5 angstrom, 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 10 meter. Once you know the delta x, it is now possible to measure what is the value of the p. Therefore, delta x into delta p is equal to h cross or h by 2 pi. Delta p is equal to h by 2 pi into delta x. Now, you substitute the value 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 34, 2 into pi 3.141 into delta x. What is the delta x? This is equal to 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 10, and this is in the joule unit. sorry, this is in kg meter per second, and this value, I think I have calculated this value. If we evaluate, this value is now comes out to be exact value. If I take 0.53 angstrom, and this value is comes out to be 1.99 into 10 to the power minus 24 s kg meter per second. This is now become delta p. Suppose if you say delta p is now the uncertainty in the momentum of the electron in the first Bohr orbit, what is the momentum of the electron in the first Bohr orbit itself? The order of the uncertainty. The momentum of the electron in the first Bohr orbit, we can say 1.99 into 10 to the power minus 24. Now you know the momentum, you can calculate the energy. What is the energy? Ek equal to p square by 2m. If you do, this is equal to 1.99 into 10 to the power minus 24. You have to square this divided by 2 into 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31, and you have to convert this one into electron volt. Therefore 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, you will get the electron volt, and this comes out to be 0.137 into 10 to the power 2 electron volt, or simply it is now 13.7 electron volt. Very easily you got the energy of the electron in the first Bohr orbit, and actually you can write En equal to 13.7 by n square, is it not? Where n is equal to 1, the first orbit, there is the ground level, the energy of the hydrogen atom 13.7 electron volt. When n is equal to 2, energy of the electron in the second energy level. Therefore you have the different energy levels. Now strictly speaking, if you want to get this value of the energy, you have to consider what is the force of attraction between the electron and the nucleus, the Coulomb attraction, and then you have to also consider what is the centripetal force, mv square by r, and so that you can evaluate the radius, and then you can find out what is the velocity, then you have to evaluate what is the energy, and it is a quite a long process, or the long equation you have to consider. But just by applying the uncertainty principle, you get the order of the momentum, and the order of the momentum uncertainty, the uncertainty in the position and uncertainty in the momentum. That uncertainty in the momentum is now the order of the momentum, so that you get the order of the energy. And therefore the uncertainty principle has the lot of applications in the microscopic level. Just by applying the uncertainty principle, one can get the lot of ideas regarding the measurement in the microscopic level. Okay, I will stop here, and in the next class we are going to discuss about one of the very powerful device which we call as the electron microscope. And the principle of the electron microscope is based on the wave nature of the electron and the diffraction of the electron. Based on that, one of the most versatile, powerful device has been developed, and which has the highest resolution and the maximum magnification compared to the optical microscope. And therefore in the microscopic level, it gives the minute detail of the given specimen, and that particular electronic microscope we consider in the next class. And I will stop here, and whatever we discussed in the class, even in the earlier classes, please go through the videos and then prepare yourself, and probably in the month of November first week or the onwards, and the classes will college will open, and the pandemic is now, the COVID is now already in the declining mode, and the college will reopen and the regular classes will begin. Until then, we have to go for the online class. I will stop here.